Ebola, the coalition government passes the first-year mark.
Also on Weekend Breakfast, a ceasefire holds in Ukraine, but Russia warns it will respond if it's saddled with fresh sanctions.
A former Manus Island guard claims he quit in disgust over conditions at the detention centre.
And the Wallabies discover a silver lining in Perth, edging out the Springboks with a last-minute try in their championship test.
Good morning, it's Sunday the 7th of September. I'm Eliza Harvey.
And I'm Andrew Gagan, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, including my own.
Yeah. Top story from ABC News this morning. Prime Minister Tony Abbott will mark 1 year in office today after flying back from a quick visit to India and Malaysia. He's scheduled to land within the hour. During his stop in Kuala Lumpur, the PM met with his Malaysian counterpart and announced a plan to send investigators back to the MH17 crash site before the onset of the European winter. The search of the site in eastern Ukraine was suspended early last month because of heavy fighting in the area.
That fighting is, of course, over following the ceasefire, which took effect late last week. The Ukrainian and Russian presidents have agreed that the truce in eastern Ukraine is largely holding. Ukraine's Petro Poroshenko and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin have spoken by phone to discuss steps to make the situation durable. Prisoner exchanges are due to go ahead within the next couple of days. Meanwhile, Moscow has warned that it will react if the EU presses ahead with plans to impose further sanctions this week on Russia.
A former detention centre guard says he's not surprised an asylum seeker has died from an infection he caught at Manus Island because he witnessed filthy living conditions inside the facility. 24-year-old Hamid Kazai cut his foot at the Papua New Guinea detention centre, developed blood poisoning and later died. Former Manus Island employee Bo Mitchell says it's not a shock after the hygiene standards he saw there.
There's no air conditioning, the beds are extremely close together. The living standards are quite filthy. Often they'd be standing on concrete to have a shower that was literally falling apart underneath them, just completely rotting away. If it was something quite severe, they'd be seen quickly. But if it wasn't an emergency, it was a 2 to 3 day wait normally.
There have been chaotic scenes this morning in Western Sydney where a B-double container truck rolled on a freeway on-ramp. The accident sent a trailer packed with produce hurtling off the side of the road and hit the roof of a house. There are no reported injuries, and the house somehow didn't sustain any structural damage. A large crane will be brought in to remove the wreckage.
Authorities say it could be more than a week before they reopen the Mitchell Highway in southwest Queensland following a major truck explosion. 8 people, including a police officer and 4 firefighters, were injured when a tanker containing more than 50 tonnes of fertiliser rolled south of Charleville on Friday night. The truck driver was seriously injured and 2 motorists who stopped to help were also hurt. Along with the truck, 2 bridges and 2 firefighting vehicles were destroyed and a section of the Mitchell Highway is missing. Police are warning motorists to avoid the area until further notice.
Police are investigating the death of a man in Sydney's inner west overnight. Emergency services were called to Croydon Park at around 1:30 this morning. Following reports, a man was lying injured on a footpath. Paramedics tried to revive him, but he died at the scene. An investigation is underway to determine what happened.
Sydney Police will hold a community meeting later this morning to update residents affected by the deadly blast in a convenience store. The explosion in Rozelle on Thursday morning killed 2 adults and a 1-year-old boy. The site is now a crime scene and a large section of Darling Street could remain closed until early next week. The site is also contaminated with asbestos.
Overseas again, and Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has chaired an emergency meeting after flooding that's killed more than 100 people in 3 days. Reports from India say a similar number have died in floods there. The number of deaths on both sides of the border has been rising rapidly. Most of the victims drowned, were in collapsed houses or were hit by landslides. Relief aid is being mobilised, but landslides are hampering rescue efforts.
One country is taking drastic action to battle the deadly Ebola virus. A 3-day lockdown has been announced in Sierra Leone to try to stop it from spreading. The Ebola virus has already killed more than 2,000 people in West Africa, and that includes the 20 health workers in Sierra Leone. It's prompted the government of Sierra Leone to announce a lockdown across the nation, meaning residents won't be allowed to leave their homes from the 19th until the 21st of September. However, medical charity Médecins Sans Frontières is warning lockdowns don't work.
Sans Frontières, they may be right in what they're saying, but they're only talking about it from the curative point of view, looking after the sick. They are caregivers. What we are more concerned about is the social mobilization. 0.02% of the population, that is about just 1,000 people, have been affected by this. We still have 5,999,000 people who have not been affected. These are the emergency. These are the ones that we must keep safe.
And the Queen has enjoyed a little pomp and ceremony in Scotland 2 weeks before the referendum to decide on independence from the United Kingdom. She opened the annual Highland Games near Aberdeen, watching a marching band parade, along with traditional events such as the hammer throw and tug of war. Recent polls show pro-independence gaining ground, with the outcome on September the 18th expected to be very close. However, the majority of Scots would like to see her remain Queen of an independent Scotland in the event of a referendum yes vote.
And now, Andrew, it's time to talk sport and the great result that we heard yesterday.
You're just dying to say this, aren't you?
I've been really looking forward to it. Me, the Swans too good for the Dockers.
They certainly were, Eliza. Obviously wearing
Let's take a look at the satellite image. A cold front is sweeping across southwest and western Australia, generating squally showers. A high is directing moist onshore winds and showers into eastern New South Wales and southern Queensland, while a trough over central Queensland is generating heavy showers. Looking around the country. In Queensland, showers over southern inland parts, mild in the south, warmer in the northwest. Showers about the coast and northern inland of New South Wales, cooler conditions along the coast. A generally dry and sunny day for Victoria, warmer in the northeast of the state. In Tasmania, generally dry and sunny in the north with light winds, light showers in the far south. A dry day for most of South Australia, warm to hot in the north of the state, cooler in the south. In Western Australia, hot in the north and cooler in the south of the state, heavy showers crossing the southwest. And a sunny and dry day for the top end. And looking ahead to tomorrow's forecast for the capitals, possible showers for Brisbane and Adelaide, showers clearing in Sydney and Perth, windy with rain in Melbourne, a frosty morning for Canberra, sunny for Hobart and also Darwin. Take a look at the front pages of Sunday's newspapers.
And of course, it's footy final season. Today, Port Adelaide takes on Richmond in an elimination final. That story dominates the front page of South Australia's Sunday Mail.
A high-tech maritime business in Tasmania is appealing to the federal government for a fair share of defence spending as it plans to submit a tender for a lucrative Pacific patrol boat building contract. That's in the Sunday Tasmanian.
The Sunday Age writes that Australia's renewable energy target could be retained, at least in part, because of a backlash from industry and backbench MPs over its proposed scrapping. The paper also explores the challenge confronting GPs even, who are asked to help elderly people faced with a terminal illness end their lives.
Sydney's Sun Herald writes that soaring childcare costs and long waiting lists are locking poor families in New South Wales out of childcare at far higher rates than elsewhere in the country.
The sister of Azaria Chamberlain, Zara, is on the front page of Sydney's Sunday Telegraph with the headline, "Why I Love Dingoes." Zara, who's the daughter of Michael Chamberlain and his second wife, works in an animal sanctuary.
That story dominates News Limited papers around the country. It's also on the front page of Queensland's Sunday Mail.
And it makes the cover of Victoria's Sunday Herald Sun. Zara says she's committed to saving the dingo, despite it being a sensitive family issue.